So at this point then, without the board's objection, we should hear from Mr. Battistini regarding the letter that he filed with us. He's representing the ACLU in this matter. You ready to speak, sir?
I am. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for hearing from me this morning. This matter. Good morning. This matter is new to me as of yesterday, and so hence the late nature of the letter, which was submitted yesterday afternoon. And the reason we submitted the letter to you up front was we wanted to bring this issue to the board's attention as soon as we knew about it, because we knew you'd be discussing this subject matter today. And Mr. Marcaccio is right. We will be filing up with a verified complaint pursuant to the administrative regulations as addressed to these sort of complaints, if not later today, probably sometime early next week. I'm waiting to hear back from a couple people who may be joining that complaint. I do have one registered voter in the district who is a complainant. And let me do one bookkeeping thing first, and this is my fault. We inverted the numbers in our letter, so the voting district that we're discussing is the Fairmont Heights voting district in Woonsocket, which is voting district 4, not voting district 3, and that's my mistake, not Attorney Marcaccio's mistake. Here's what's happened. On June 16th, 2020, the Woonsocket Board of Canvassers met and voted to move the polling place for voting district 4 from a location within that voting district to a location outside of the voting district. Specifically, they moved it from Fairmont Heights to the Harris Elementary School. Harris Elementary School, as it turns out, is in voting district 3, roughly 1 mile outside of the voting district, or 1 mile from the original polling place. The problem is that Woonsocket, in making that decision to move the polling place, did not come before the Board of Elections as it's required to do pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 1711-1 and seek approval from the board for that move. And that statute contemplates that as part of the Board of Elections oversight of polling place moves, it needs to determine whether there are alternatives within the voting district itself that could serve as a polling place before a polling place is allowed to be moved outside of the voting district. At the June 2020 Board of Canvassers meeting, it does not appear that the Board of Canvassers discussed alternates. And in fact, it appears that the Board of Canvassers did little up until quite recently to see if there were alternates within that voting district that could have served as a polling place. We have some limited information that sometime in October 2020, the Board of Canvassers revisited the issue and at that point did look at certain alternatives, although it's unclear what those alternatives were. And we've provided the board with 2 potential alternatives that we understand could serve as polling places, but given the late nature of the letter to the board, we think that it's not advisable to start changing a polling place on a Friday before a Tuesday election. That would only serve to cause more confusion, not less, relative to where people need to show up to vote. Getting back to the issue, though. And so it's unclear what the Board of Canvassers did, if anything, relative to alternatives. There is an elementary school in voting district 4. However, our understanding is that elementary school is not ADA compliant, so could not serve as a polling place. That appears to be the only alternative that the Board of Canvassers considered at the time, although I could stand to be corrected given the newness of this case to me and to the ACLU. So there are really 3 problems associated with the manner by which Woonsocket took this decision. First, it moved the polling place outside the voting district without a serious consideration of alternatives. Second, it didn't bring that decision to this board for its approval, thereby violating 1711-1. And most problematically, it sent notices of the change of polling place after the mail-in ballot application was due, so that for those people in voting district 4 who don't have an ability to get to the new polling place, they've been denied an opportunity to submit an application for a mail ballot. And it's unclear what list Woonsocket used when it sent out these notices. And we were getting anecdotal information that they used a list of quote-unquote likely voters, whatever that means, as opposed to all registered voters in voting district 4. And one of the complainants we have will attest to the fact that she never received notice of the new polling place and only learned of the new polling place when she took it upon herself to go to the Secretary of State's website. In terms of a remedy, we are going to leave that to the board's discretion. There is no express remedy that I can find either in the Board of Election Regulations and or in the statutes addressed to a violation of 1711-1. And given that we're going to be filing this complaint literally on the eve of the election, this is something the board will likely take up after the election. Our concern is we don't want this to happen again. And we want to make sure that folks in voting District 4 get an opportunity to vote within voting District 4. And I'll close with this. Voting District 4 is one where the demographics are such that people have a tough time getting out to vote because of it's primarily non-white and low income. And as a result, changing polling places create a real difficulty for the population of that area to vote, particularly where you're moving it to a mile or two away where people don't have transportation. I'm not sure if this is on a bus route or not, but I would not be asking people to get on buses given the current health situation. And given the fact that notice appears to have not been provided to a certain number of the voters within that district. So that's the issue. I wanted to bring it before the board's attention because I know you were considering these issues this morning, and we will follow up with a more formal complaint either later today or probably sometime early next week. Thank you for your time and attention.
Okay, thank you, sir. You were stumbling a bit. It wasn't you, it was the reception. But I think we got all of your points. Thank you so much.